Welcome back. Now, as COVID-19 spreads its tentacles across the world, here at home, big business has to step up in supporting the public health system. Joining me now from Business Unity South Africa, the Stavros Nicolaou. The public health and resources impact, of course, is what we're going to be discussing here. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it, Stavros. It's been one where there's been panic. There's been perhaps some information sharing. Do you feel enough has been said at present from government, perhaps from business as well, with regards to aiding the process, understanding what is actually going on and where we currently sit when it comes to COVID-19 and South Africa in particular?
So I think the best place to start in answering your question is to understand that COVID-19 has three impacts. It's got an economic impact, a public health and medical impact, and then a supply chain impact on particularly critical goods and services in the country. So have we done enough in communicating? The obvious answer is no. Okay, there has been significant attempts to communicate, and I think our government, the health department in particular, need to be commended for that. But there is still so much panic out there, and I think let's just focus for a moment on this panic. It's ill-conceived. It's ill-conceived because let's look at the rationality and the statistics around this. So we know that there's 7.5 billion people that live on our planet. We know that the virus was first detected in late December. So 3.5 months later, there are around 120,000 reported cases globally out of a population of 7.5 billion. The mortality rates are roughly 3% or so. And the mortality rates are specific to a group of people, largely elderly males, actually. So it's those people that have underlying pathologies or are immunocompromised, they have a compromised immune system, that are likely to be targeted from a mortality point of view. For the rest of the public, they will develop mild to moderate symptoms. So I think it's very important that we communicate correctly in two areas. The first area is the statistics that I've just mentioned, so we don't get this wild panic that we're starting to see. I'm not saying people must be complacent, but they shouldn't be 100%. Panicking. And unfortunately, panic leads into the economic impact because markets hate panic and uncertainty. The second thing we need to communicate is what is the best way to deal with this right now? The best way is prevention. So in any response of a public health outbreak like this, because it's not a pandemic yet. It's not like spread wildly across the surface of the entire planet. It's not a pandemic yet. The best thing to do is you contain, okay, and then you respond if you have to.
Did Italy respond in the right way in your point of view? I mean, just even in your mind, do you think that was the right point of view right now? Just close off the entire country, try to contain as best as possible.
So I think Italy's move is the correct one, and I know they're taking short-term pain, but they'll get long-term gain with that. If it spread and it was an additional burden on the public health services, then you start dealing with a very difficult territory and domain, and responses are not then easily acquired at the desired levels.
Lack of knowledge becomes the big issue, right? So that's the kind of thing we need to keep doing, and this is exactly why we've brought you in. But from a business point of view, what does business do at a time like this to educate, to help, to provide support, to, if, for example, at a later stage we do get a vaccine, how does business play a role in pushing that out, hopefully, to the rest of the country?
Okay, so multiple questions and a few responses in there. So firstly, let me start off with there is no known vaccine at this point in time. It's going to take time to develop one, and there's no known treatment or cure yet. There are a number of candidate molecules or compounds that are showing promise. And I'm sure once they've gone through their trial phase, if they meet muster, then no doubt they will become available in this country. And certainly as business, we will advocate for them to be licensed to this country as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. Okay, the second thing is the messaging that we send and how can business support government's messaging. So Busa will be meeting Minister Mkhize and his team probably on Friday or Monday. The main discussion point in that meeting is how do we align the messaging at two levels, i.e. what are the preventative measures and educating the public, including all the employees in our companies. Secondly, what happens if you develop symptoms? Okay, there's a lot of confusion around that. Just a basic thing.
Should
like
companies close down then?
Correct. Okay, and our facilities, both in the public and private sector, are geared for that. But we need to get that alignment, and we need to educate companies as to what happens if there's an outbreak. As you said, you just suddenly go and shut down a school, shut down a business. It's not necessary. There are various steps that need to be followed. But the most important thing is, how do we prevent? I keep going back to that. 3 basic things we've got to do is, number 1, hand hygiene. So disinfect the alcohol-based or hospital-grade hand sanitizer. Number 2, if you can get to a flu vaccine, do that as quickly as possible, because that will help you with your immune system overall. And then thirdly, they call it the elbow reaction. If you're sneezing or coughing, just do one of these. So you're not spreading it, and keep a healthy distance if a guy isn't spreading it. So this sort of distance between you and I is a healthy distance.
Very finally, I just need to ask, we have run out of time though, but if business figures out to get the communication right, is this one business's first sort of communication that they'll have with the minister coming through on Friday? And if so, what are the suggestions that business will have for the minister when it comes to corporations and how they should be dealing with this going forward?
Okay, so us meeting the minister, or Business Unity South Africa meeting the minister, we've met him on a number of occasions on multiple issues. Public health, NHI and other issues. At this particular meeting, we want to know, how can we support his efforts at educating and enlightening the public, and how can we support at a basic facility level. Those are the 2 main points. The third thing, we cannot detract from the economic impact here. Never waste a good crisis, and that's how we're viewing it as business in South Africa generally. This is the time now to step up on manufacturing to get security of supply. Like for drugs and medicines, for example, this is an ideal opportunity. Fix the energy mix, ideal opportunity. And let's use this to propagate accurate messaging so we don't create further policy uncertainty, which markets despise.
Stavros, always great chatting to you. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll put your Aspen hat on at a later stage and hopefully discuss things also there. More news coming up at the top of the hour. We will be joined, of course, with more information with regards to the coronavirus and more updates. Do stay tuned. This is On Point.